Thank you.
from Wichita State. She's up here in Kansas City to teach a master class and hopefully play a little. Are you going to play anything?
I wasn't planning on it, but I can.
A little bit. Put you on the spot. Okay, so Carmen.
Yes, Mary.
I just want to say thank you for letting me interview you. You are our first interviewee.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're the first. That's why
I'm honored.
That's why
I'm truly honored. I hope it goes well.
Well, yeah, I hope it goes well too. So let's get started. So Carmen, you are the flute professor at Wichita State.
Yes.
So Wichita State is a place that's dear to my heart. It's a wonderful music school.
Yes.
Will you just talk a little bit about what's going on there?
Absolutely. Well, I like to tell the story about when I interviewed there. Just almost immediately, I felt really welcomed by everybody. I could tell that it was a close family type atmosphere, and I really appreciated that. I thought this is a place where I could be happy. And I am really happy. I'm happy to report that all of my first impressions were true.
Wow.
Yeah, so the faculty are amazing. We're all wonderful players and teachers and people.
Right.
So that's been really, really lovely. I'm about to finish my third year there.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow.
And so a lot's happened in the past 3 years. This year we have a new music director, Dr. Alex Sternfeld-Dunn, and he's about our age, I would say.
Okay.
And so he's really on the cutting edge of the trends in music schools now.
Right.
So wanting to offer the students classes that will help them later on.
Right.
You know, once they graduate.
Right, because
Yes.
this is the thing that I think about all the time now, because when I was in music school, it was basically just get really good at playing and do your best and work really hard, get good grades. But really, once I was out in the real world of music,
Yeah.
there was a lot more business and
Absolutely.
all sorts of things that I had never really thought about while I was in music school.
Yeah.
So it's great to see there.
Yeah, same for me. And I feel like even in my doctorate, there weren't a lot of classes that talked about what I would need as a professor. I'm so excited. The cat.
Tom has a question.
Tomcat.
He's wondering if you like cats.
I love cats.
Tom,
Oh.
Tom, I'm sure likes us, but he does not like the flute. He is one that does not like.
He's wary. Oh, he might come back.
He will. He'll probably get in a
curious
fight
cat.
with the dog. Okay. Anyway, so the thing about Wichita State also that I have to say that when I was a student there, I really loved it that all my professors were playing in the symphony.
Yes.
And it felt as if there was nobody that was just sort of just teaching and getting by. They were all working very hard and would have to go practice to be ready for the next concert or the next symphony.
Definitely. So it's not uncommon to walk past my office and see me doing my warm-ups, doing my scales and practicing my symphony music. And that's another reason I love the job.
Right.
Is because it's so rare to have a position that is part teaching and part performing.
Yeah.
So it does keep me on my toes.
Speaking of which, you had this huge concert.
Yes. Yes. So
but I kept wanting to text you all these encouraging things to help you. Not that you needed it. You got through just beautifully.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting concert where we invited a scientist who has made these videos for orchestras to play along with.
Cool.
And so he made a video about the moon, and the soundtrack was Daphnis and Chloe, right? Both suites.
That's amazing.
Both suites. And our maestro decided to pair the Daphnis suites with Bartók's Concerto for Orchestra.
It's interesting.
Yeah, and very heavy set.
Yeah.
Just a lot of playing on the spot and needing to be on and focused for the entire time.
Amazing.
And I did start practicing for this particular concert much more in advance than I normally would.
Right.
I mean, when I was auditioning for professional orchestras, it's often asked that you learn the entire deafness part.
Right.
So I had already practiced some of it, but I mean, that part is such a monster.
Right.
I mean, you really have to know it.
Yeah.
And then, I'm happy to report that I'm really pleased with how my big solo went both nights.
Wonderful.
Yeah. It was special. It really felt like, even though there was a video above my head, you know, and maybe people weren't even paying attention to
that
me,
helped a little
you know,
bit.
maybe it did, yeah.
Take the pressure off.
I sometimes what I do is I'll imagine myself as one of my former teachers, Tim Day, with San Francisco Symphony, who's just an amazing player and kind of no nonsense, and I will kind of be like, okay, I'm Tim Day now. Right. And I'm just gonna like take this solo by the balls, and I'm just gonna play it, you know, and in the meantime, like, I felt like I was able to take risks and really shape it in ways that I think I don't do when I'm in an audition situation. Right. Actually, because what's the outcome, right? There's no outcome.
To lose.
I have nothing to lose, yeah. And I got
and how
a lot
many
of
times in
compliments.
your life will you be able to play that? Really play it for a concert?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, you just have to enjoy it, even though it's scary. You have to embrace it, because you'll always remember those performances.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how it went. So I did not get a bow, but that's okay. Both nights.
Wow. Okay, we will put something extra special on Facebook for you. Okay, so how about let's have a little bit of tips or advice for any flutist who is going to have a big scary solo. What do you suggest for them to prepare, and then also in the moment of the performance? Right.
Well, I mean, you can't get away without just doing the hard, nitty-gritty practicing of, you know, the technique and everything. I'm a big proponent of taking things out of context and really breaking them down into really kind of slow practice. Right. So I have a student who's playing a lot of piccolo recently, and she has to learn how to do a lot of high piccolo with diminuendos. And she's just like, I just can't get it. I don't know what to do, you know? And so I had her play just the same notes, but very long. Right. And just diminuendo at your own pace, you know? Because in that situation, I think it's just muscle memory of these guys, you know? And lo and behold, she can do a diminuendo. And so that helps her feel more confident, you know. So it's slow practice. So sometimes in our busy lives, we kind of can't slow down in the moment, and that's hard. In which case, you just come back to it later. I think performing a lot is really important, even if it's just for your phone and you're recording yourself. One thing I've been noticing in my students lately, that they're concerned about is performance anxiety in the moment. And I am not free of anxiety either when I perform. It kind of rears its head at really strange moments.
When you don't expect it.
So that's always awesome. But what I try and work through with them is just the visualization of walking out on stage if they know where they're going to be playing. Sometimes in an audition situation, you don't. Right. You don't know what it's going to be like. So we just do that in a few different scenarios. You visualize the sound of your shoes maybe on the wooden floors, you know, the view of the audience, how you're feeling. Are you excited? Are you dreading it? You know, who's there? And then you get to the middle of the stage. What's it going to be like to bow, to smile, to open your music? I mean, really pretty detailed stuff. And how it's going to be able to tune and what you want those first notes to sound like. You know, so really walking through the process in your mind before it happens. I think it really helps.
Yeah.
I think it really helps.
I do too.
When I do it, I notice that my heart rate does go up. And then, so it's a little bit more realistic when I'm practicing.
Right.
You know, so when I've done it, it's worked out pretty well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important, because I think what I noticed when I was younger was I wouldn't have any of that going on in my mind while I was practicing, and then once I was performing, it would feel so unfamiliar to be nervous or to be like all of my senses were heightened, you know. And I've realized that now when I practice feeling, you know, I practice how am I going to feel, how am I going to, you know, everything. So that it feels familiar when I'm out there performing. And then I can just relax and play the music most of the time. Not always. But I think that's another thing. I think students think that at some point you don't get nervous or you don't. But I suppose maybe we get used to being nervous or used to
the butterflies and stuff. Yeah, I think for me personally, playing with Wichita Symphony, being in that seat has become more comfortable for me just by doing it over and over and over. I think some people don't get like that. They deal with it in different ways. So
you're right. Doing it a lot helps.
Doing it a lot for me helps a lot. Yeah. Well, and then like, how are you going to handle? Let's say you're in performance and you have a mistake. How do you want to feel after it? How do you want to? What do you want to happen after that? You know? Because I think ultimately what we want is to feel good at the end of the piece. How can we still feel proud of the work that we put in and sharing the music? You know?
There's a blue jay right outside.
Oh, perfect.
We need the window open. Do you ever practice with your windows open?
I do,
birds?
yeah.
Do the birds ever notice?
I don't know. My neighbors notice.
I have, what is it? Cardinals, I think, will come to the back bush and sort of jump around. Anyways, so let me think of other questions. I can edit some of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I know. Well, this speaks large. What you were just saying about how you want to feel at the end of the piece makes me think also about why are we playing music in the first place, and the whole process and having a bigger picture of what we're doing. And I'm curious, just sort of what do you feel? And I think this changes as we change and as we grow. But what do you think about being a musician and the role of music? I suppose even as a college professor, you have to consider this because you have to sell it to people. You have to say, no, you should have this as a career. So how do you sell music, or how do you justify it?
I think I'm incredibly fortunate. I do acknowledge that, that I have been lucky to have the job that I have. It did take me a while to get to this point. I got the DMA in 2010, and then it was 2016 when I got my first full-time gig. So it took a while, and in between that time, a lot happened, and I did a lot of questioning about, well, is this really what I want? And in fact, I think it's pretty easy in some ways to sell music as a career, as long as you keep in mind the joy, right? It's really, because there's a lot of great things about it. You can make your own schedule. You can charge your own price. Like if you're a private teacher, you can always teach. And that's a pretty decent way of making a living, I think, is private teaching. And you have a lot of freedom in who you want to work with and what music you want to play. And the options right now with the internet are so vast that you can create a website in one day, you know, and you can record yourself with pretty good equipment, you know, and get your music out there. And it's really fascinating to see who kind of makes it as, let's say, an influencer, right? How they get there and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of great things, I think, in that sense. And then you're just creating.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a creative person and you love to create, you're creating music and beauty as a living.
Right.
And I think that's really honorable and important for the world to have that. You think about the world without artists, and you don't get movies, you don't get music, you don't get design,
Right.
you don't get furniture, right? You know, all of that goes away without artists.
Right.
So we're lurking in life beneath the surface, I guess, is one way to think about it.
Yeah. Today I was talking to a dear friend of mine, Lamar Sims, who plays piano beautifully. And we were talking about the role of music just in our day-to-day life. And it struck me when I had my little girl, and my in-laws were there, and my parents were there, and we were all singing together. We were all singing Happy Birthday.
Right.
And I thought, this is so weird, because why are these people all together in one room singing? Like, we never sing, like, and Lamar read me this beautiful piece of music that really brings out and touches on the fact that music sort of marks our lives as we go, you know, like,
it's so true.
You have your happy birthdays or lullabies, and then, you know, it's sort of what we do to comfort ourselves. And I it's just interesting to think, and I think honorable is a really great word that you use to really, I feel like in this day and age when salary is such a motivator for people, that actually there's something so much more in becoming a musician, even though you can sort of set your own salary, hopefully, as a musician.
Well, I think there are more possible outcomes for musicians nowadays than there used to be. Like, Wichita State does have an audio production degree.
Right.
So there are all these, like, kind of other things that we never thought of. You can go into music publishing. I have a colleague who I met in San Francisco, and now he lives in France. He works for Powell.
Oh, wow.
Flute, and he's travels around Europe all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Being a representative for Powell.
Yeah.
And I just think, wow.
Yeah.
Like, that's so... Who would have thought?
Right.
I don't think he would have thought that he would end up doing that. You know, there's all these possibilities that maybe we didn't think of.
Right.
I think, though, you have to make it happen. You have to kind of be open to change in your life, definitely. You have to be a person who's okay with not working a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There is that. So, what else? I mean, in a lot of music schools, and actually I was watching the news the other day, a lot of, like, liberal arts schools now are trying to sell their product by pointing out all of the soft skills that come with learning music and the other humanities and everything. So, I mean, yeah, definitely. You learn how to collaborate. You learn how to be social with other people, get along with people, work together. Tremendous discipline. Right? Because that's what practice is discipline. Attention to detail. I mean, creativity, thinking creatively, right? All of these things that maybe are not always stressed in some of the other fields. Yeah. You know, I was also a math major. Like,
I can do that.
Yeah, I don't use it at all. Wow. But, so that was... The math major was satisfied like this other side of my brain, you know, where it felt like there was always a right answer, and part of me was drawn to that. Right. You know.
Yeah, to sort of level out your creative side.
The openness.
The logical side.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
I don't want us to be late for you. Oh, you know what?
What?
Carmen, we might need to leave because you have a master class coming up.
Oh, no!
Okay, well, there's so much more to talk about.
No.
But I I do want to say that, Carmen, you are, in just a little bit of time that I have known you, you have been such a wonderful, supportive flute friend.
Well, thank you so much, Mary. And, you too.
Well, you know, we need each other to support each other, and I just want to invite anyone who's interested to study with Carmen, or to look her up, because she is definitely worth knowing and learning from. So
thank you,
I'm
Mary.
glad you're here. So let's go to that master
class. All right, bye.